Alright, so we're in Mishna Brura chapter 52, halfway through halacha number 1. What we said is, if you have to skip Psukei de Zimra in order to get to say the Amidah together with the community, so you go back afterwards and say the Psukei de Zimra without the brachot. The Ramah continues, Umi kol makom, yomar kol ha-brachot shemuchuyav levarech baboker. Nevertheless, you should say all of the brachot that you are obligated to say in the morning. So don't skip those brachot. The Mishna Brura explains, nevertheless you should say, this means, you are obligated to say them after davening. If you did not say them before davening. Take a look, 47.8. Le'inyan birchat haTorah, regarding brachot of the Torah. The Mishna Brura Sham and Mishna Brura there. Sif Katan Yud Zayin in number 17. Masha Katav B'Shem Eliyah Rabbah, what we know is the name of the Eliyah Rabbah. Rain B'Pri Chadash Katav writes, and see the Pri Chadash you wrote. The Gam Birkat Elokai Neshama Lo Yomar Achar Tefillah. Also the bracha of Elokai Neshama you should not say after the Amidah. Shekar Yatzav B'Birkat Mechayim Meitim. You've already fulfilled your obligation with the bracha of Mechayim Meitim. And look in the Pri Megadim who wrote that from the words of the Ramah it is not implied like this that you have fulfilled your obligation with Mechayim Meitim. So too in the book Marmar Mordechai he argues cholek with him. Also, Shari Tshuva wrote, Mistaber, logical. It is logical to say that he has not fulfilled his obligation of Elokai Neshama with Mechayeh Meitim. V'chein mashma beragro b'siman zeh. And so too it is implied from the explanation of the Vilna Gaon in this section, V'an beber halacha, taken with beber halacha, when the Mishnah Brura explores this in more detail. Mikol makom, nevertheless, yoter tov lachadchila letzait aliv de alma. It is better, lachadchila in the first place, to fulfill aliba, according to Aramaic word, the kula alma, which we've had many times, the whole world, everyone. It is better to fulfill your obligation according to everyone. Dahainu, which is Shem hitchil kfar litpalel, if you already started davening, v'shakach mikedem mikodem birkat Elokai Neshama, and he forgot before to say Elokai Neshama, yachavein befeirush b'virchat v'ne'eman Ata, he should have explicitly in his mind when he says the bracha of Ne'eman Ata, that he does not want to exempt himself through this from the blessing of Elokai Neshama. So in other words, that's a negative intention not to fulfill your obligation. And then, according to everyone, you will say that blessing after davening. Nahi, Aramaic, granted the brachot and tzrichim kavana letzait. It's granted that brachot do not need specific intention in order to fulfill your obligation. Mikom makom, nevertheless, heicha, where, what's Aramaic, the mechavein beferish shelo letzait. You have specific intention not to fulfill your obligation. Shapir dami. Also Aramaic, shapir dami means it is good, basically. Then it certainly works. So to say a bracha without meaning anything, so you still said the bracha. But to say a bracha saying, and I mean no bracha, so that means no bracha. Ayin Shamod, take a look there. V'ayin bever halacha shekatavnu de'im shakach bracha birchat haTorah v'tchil birkat kriyat shema. Bever halacha says, if you forgot the blessings of the Torah and you began saying Shema, yachavein beferish b'birkat avarabah liftor birkat haTorah. Then you should have explicit intention in your bracha of avarabah to exempt yourself on the blessings of the Torah. And you should ensure. You should see or ensure. Lilmod techef, to learn immediately after lachar tefillah, after davening. The yetzer bazeh live the chole alma, and you will fulfill through this according to chole alma, everybody. Kol ha-brachot, you should say all of the morning brachot after your amidah if you rushed ahead. V'ayin b'sefer Marmar Mordechai v'sefer Nahar Shalom, he quotes those two books. The zman kol ha-brachot hu kol hayom b'diavad. The time of all of the brachot is the entire day b'diavad, post facto. Once you've already had some time passing, ideally you should say it as you woke up. But if you haven't said it, so that time extends until the entire day. V'chein katav b'sefer Maaseh Rav Lagrazal, and so too is written in the book Maaseh Rav of the Vilna Gaon. V'hosif sham od yoter, and he added on more there. Da'afilu b'layla ad shat hashena hu chiyuvan, even at night until the hour of sleep is their obligation. So, you forgot to say the brachot, or whatever it was, or you were sick and you only woke up much, much later, if you forgot to say them earlier on, the obligation to say the morning brachot of like Pokeach Ivrim extends all the way through to the night. Veneerly, it seems to me, that if he was seized by sleep, according to everyone, he can no longer tu Aramaic for further. He can no longer further bless the bracha of Ha'ma'avir Shana. In other words, guy goes to sleep, wakes up an hour later, and he says, oh, I should say Ma'avir Shana. It doesn't work. Dugma Birkat HaMazon, like similar to, Dugma, similar example. Similar to Birkat HaMazon, as we'll see later on. Mikol Makom, nevertheless, Le'chadchil in the first place, Tzarich Lizayer needs to be careful. She'lo le'achera brachot yoter me'arba shot halayom. To not delay the brachot more than 4 hours of the day. Ach b'diavad, but again, post facto, I'll call panim, at least. Yachol levarech otam at chatzot. You can say them until chatzot, midday. So, first prize, you say them before davening. Second prize, you say them after davening within the first 4 hours of the day. Third prize, you say them before midday. Fourth prize is you say them before you go to sleep. Fifth prize is even once you went to sleep and woke up, but you haven't properly gone to sleep for the rest of the night, you can say them except for Ha'ma'avir Shena. Kiken muchach me'harbe achronim. This is muchach, proven, evidence from many later authorities. Shelo hifsida brachot achar arba shaot. That you has not lost the brachot after 4 hours. V'hamekel, one who is lenient, lismoch, to rely, b'diavad, post facto ala gedolim anizkarim le'el, on the great people. Nal is an abbreviation, nizkar le'el, mentioned above. Ulevareich otam achar chatzot, and somebody relies on those authorities to say them even after midday, ein limchot biado, do not protest against him. V'ayin be'ver halacha, and take a look in the Ver Halacha, where the Mishna Brura goes into this in more detail. Now, chapter number 53. Din harawi le'reid livnat teva, the law of who is appropriate to descend before the teva. Teva literally means box. That's what we would call the bima. So, who should go to the bima? Now, we normally ascend to the bima. In those days, they would descend. They would have somebody going down to the bima. But this is the topic, the title of chapter 53. Omer shaliach tzibur yishtabach me'umad. The shaliach tzibur says yishtabach me'umad, standing. The shaliach tzibur stands for yishtabach. The next halacha, ein lomar yishtabach ele im kain amar. You should not say yishtabach unless he said baruch she'amar uktzat psukei da zimra. Unless he said baruch she'amar and ktzat, some of psukei da zimra. Alright. Let's take a look at the Mishna Brura on these. The Shliach Tzibur needs to say Yishtabach standing. So Mishna Brura says, Kadei li sheyismoch lo hakadosh miyad, in order that he will juxtapose, that he'll put it right next to it, the Kaddish miyad, immediately. Velo yitztarech lehafsik beineihem, and he will not need to break beineihem, between them. With the standing. So it won't be that he says Yishtabach, stands, and then says the Kaddish, he goes straight on, Lifnat Teva, before the Bima. Aval b'siman nun aleph siv zayin, but in 51:7, V'agam mashma in the Ramor, it is implied that afilu mish mitpalel b'yechidi, even one who's prays b'yechidi, alone, without the community. In other words, you're not just the Shaliach Tzibur, you're actually by yourself. Tzarich kam ken lamod b'amirit Yishtabach, also needs to stand when he says Yishtabach. V'ayin be'Eliya Rabbah sheteret. Look in Eliya Rabbah who answered, who explained this. Dahatam, there, Aramaic, min haga, from a custom. V'hacha, and here, midina, from law. There, it's a custom that we stand for Yishtabach. But here, where the Chazan stands, that is from law. V'chein katav agra, that's what the Vilna Gaon wrote V'chein katav b'teretz kainim d'nagin anshe ma'aseh la'amod kashem mishtabach. Teretz Kainim wrote that people of deeds, great people, have the custom of standing when they say Yishtabach, Bain b'Shabbat, Bain b'chol, whether it's Shabbat or during the week, Va'afilu b'yechidi, even if they are by themselves. Kol ha'chamisha asar shvachim sheb'Yishtabach. All 15 chamisha asar, all 15 shavachim praises in Yishtabach. We have a number of expressions as to how Hashem should be praised and lauded and glorified. Min shir shvacha, song, praise, ad me'ata, until from now on until forever. Yizaher, he should be careful. Me'od, very much. Shelo lahafsik beinayhem, not to break in between them. V'amafsik, somebody who does break, on shor gadol, his punishment is great, because it's supposed to be a continuous phrase that runs on. But it does not need to be in one breath. You don't have to say them all in one breath, but you shouldn't stop halfway through. Okay, quotes the sources. Now, the next one is, Ein lomar, you should not say Yishtabach, unless you've said Baruch She'amar and some Psukkah Zimra. Bein Shliach Tzibur, Bein Adam Acher, whether it's the Shliach Tzibur or anyone else. In other words, the best Shliach Tzibur walks into Shul, but he hasn't we want him to say Yishtabach, he hasn't said Baruch She'amar, we can't ask him to daven. Elim Kain, unless he has said Baruch She'amar in some verses, the Yishtabach hi bracha achrona, because Yishtabach is the final bracha, ending bracha. Shenitkana lomar lachar Psukkah Zimra, that was established to be said after Psukkah Zimra. Umatchelet belo Baruch, and it begins without Baruch. Ki hi smucha lebirkat Baruch She'amar, because it is juxtaposed, it's close on, follows on, in the Baruch of Baruch She'amar, as we've discussed in the past, a long bracha that follows a short bracha, you don't start with Baruch Atah. Okay, therefore, Ein lomarota belo Baruch She'amar, you may not say to that Baruch She'amar, velo katoin, not like those who err. Keshehem b'derech or shar shat hadchak, when they're on the road, or other shat hadchak, pressurized time, other kind of difficult situation. Matchilin mi yishtabach, they begin from yishtabach. Shemavarichin al yedei zeh bracha levatala, they bless through this a bracha levatala, wasted bracha. Amar Baruch She'amar, unless he has said Baruch She'amar, Al Kain, therefore, Avel, a mourner, or Yortzeit, somebody Yortzeit, Shehit Achru Lavo leBeit HaKnesset, who delayed coming to the Beit HaShul, they're late, Ad Karov leBaruchu, until it's close to Baruchu, Umuchrachim la'amod al kol panim, and they are Muchrachim, they have to, they are forced, they are required to stand al kol panim, at least, lomar yishtabach lifnei ha'taiva, to say yishtabach before the ark, ki asur lahafsik ben yishtabach lakadosh, because it is forbidden to interrupt between yishtabach and kaddish. In other words, if you're going to be saying that kaddish, and the mourners would try to get whatever kaddish is, not just the mourners kaddishes, but even the half kaddish, you're going to say that kaddish, you have to say the yishtabach. Yir'u, they should ensure. Al kol panim, at least, lomar mitchila le'atzman baruch she'amar v'ashrei, to say from the beginning to themselves, in other words, quietly, Baruch She'amar and Ashrei. They need to at least say that. V'chein ha'chazan b'Shabbat, and so to the chazan on Shabbos, shehit acher lavo ad karov leBaruchu, who delayed coming until it's close to Baruchu. Yireh should see, al kol panim at least, lomar mitchila le'atzmo Baruch She'amar, to say first for himself from Baruch She'amar v'ashrei v'nishmat, v'chanal, as mentioned above, the Siman Nun Bet in chapter 52, by Mishna Brura. And that's it for today.